Hello and welcome. This is the FIDE Master and FIDE Trainer Vedant Goswami. Today we are going to see an amazing game in which Karpov, one of the most legendary chess players in the world till date, lost in only 12 moves. Yes, that is correct. And that too to a very simple tactics. So we'll start the game and we'll see the game, but the lesson is that mistakes are there to be made no matter how strong or how weak you are. If we make some fundamental mistakes, opponent always will have some tactical method to exploit it. So let us start the game. The game was played in 1993. Karpov's opponent is American Grandmaster Larry Christiansen, a very strong player. So he started with d4 and f6, c4, e6, and these are the Queen's Indian or the Nimzo Indian openings, depending on whether white plays nf3 or nc3. Christiansen plays nf3, and Karpov plays his favorite Queen's Indian opening. White plays a3. The idea is to prevent a pin on the knight once it is developed on c3. That also prevents black from doubling up the pawn on c3 after capturing on c3 and trying to reach some Nimzo Indian type of positions. Bishop a6, attacking the pawn on c4. Christiansen plays queen c2 and bishop b7. Now, it's kind of an interesting maneuver because, black attacked the pawn for a move and then simply retreated. Now, what is the logic? The basic idea of this maneuver, and particularly after queen c2, is that when the queen was on d1, it was exerting some control on d5, and now it is not. So, and also that after seeing the decision what white made, black no longer thought that the bishop was particularly useful on a6 anymore, so immediately regrouped the bishop. But the idea, I think the basic idea is to reduce white's control on the d5 square. So nc3 and c5. Now the same thing comes into play. If you see, the queen would have been on d1, white would have this move d5, gaining a lot of space in the center and basically putting the black bishop on b7 out of play. Then he can follow up with e4 and have a very good game with the massive center. So this maneuver displaced the white queen from exerting control on the d5 square. A subtle opening move, but very well known. So e4 and cd4, knight into d4, and c6, all very normal moves. Knight into c6, knight into c6, and bishop f4. Christiansen immediately puts the bishop where it points at some weakness on the d6 square, and a follow-up might be rook d1, and then someday maybe bishop d6 can come, exchanging the bishop, and the pawn on d7 will always remain a liability. So Karpov chooses to shoo away the bishop immediately, asking the question, where do you want to retreat it? Christiansen played bishop e3, always good to retrieve pieces in the center because then they retain the flexibility to regroup as required by the progress of the game. So this is already the position where Karpov made this move, bishop d6. It's a very simple move. It looks like a completely normal move, and I think the basic idea is to prevent f4 and prevent white from gaining more space. But also, it is a major tactical blunder. So this is the time where you have to stop the video and find the move which Christiansen played and forced Karpov to resign immediately. Take your time. It is a very simple tactics, and you will have that feeling that you defeated Karpov. So a very simple position, a very simple tactics. And okay, so now what is the point of the tactics? Now, if you see everything is fine, but black has two pieces which are unsupported. So unsupported pieces are always weaknesses. And Christiansen figured out the very simple queen retreat, queen d1, hitting both the pieces at the same time. And there is no way both pieces can be protected at the same time, forcing Karpov to resign immediately. So amazing way for a world champion to lose a game, become falling victim to a very simple tactic of a double attack, but also a very important lesson for us that chess is a game where you can't be careless even for a moment. Okay, and you have to be aware of where your pieces are. In this case, Karpov blinked for a moment, played a move which is not so carefully calculated, and paid the price by immediately losing the game. So I hope you enjoyed the game, and the lesson that it conveys, that be careful all the time when playing the game of chess. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.